Ooh, welcome back to the Boneyard Podcast, everybody. This is your host, Jared Shaffett, along with my good friend, Artemis Brower. Artie, how are we doing, my friend?
We're good. We are good. We are live on a Monday night. I can't remember the last time we recorded on a Monday night, and I know why we don't record on Monday nights. My God, your boy feeling okay.
Mondays are tough, man. Mondays are always tough.
I am all over the place today, but we're here.
We're here. Harold Varner, we here.
We're here, baby.
All right, let's episode 171.
Yes.
Artie.
Yes.
171. Do you have one for me?
Hell no. I'm gonna be honest with you. I've been good. I've been good with my numbers. I've been good with my players, man. Look, I just got off I-40 not too long ago. Took a shower. Just got home. I ain't got no 71. I ain't got one.
All right. That's all right. So I'm gonna go with mine. Drafted first overall in the 2010 NHL draft. Taylor Hall was never quite lived up to it, to the hype. I mean, he's been a phenomenal NHLer. He's not a Hall of Famer. He's gonna have a pretty good career, but he was always seen as kind of like one of the next greats, and he never kind of lived up to that.
Yeah.
Played for 6 teams: Edmonton, New Jersey, Arizona, Buffalo, Boston, and now playing for your Chicago Blackhawks, Artie.
Yeah.
Earlier this season, he had an assist on first overall pick from this season, Connor Bedard's first career NHL goal.
Oh, nice.
And then I read this crazy stat. Taylor Hall has assisted on 4 first overall picks' first career goals, which it's crazy. That's crazy. Think of it. That means he's a first overall pick.
Yeah.
And he's played with at least 4 first overall picks in their first game, and he's got an assist for each of them.
Yeah, that's wild.
So that's an interesting stat that I was reading off. I was like, wow, that's pretty crazy. All right, Artie, Boneyard Podcast, proud members of the Variety Sports Podcast Network. Go check them out. Lots of great content there to be seen, to be heard. Check them out on YouTube. If you're watching us now on Variety Sports Network YouTube, hello. And if you're watching us later on Variety Sports Network YouTube, hello later. All right, Artie. ECU got the dub.
Got a victory. Holy shit. We beat an FBS opponent. Haven't done that in a long time.
Yeah. Felt good.
I
mean, up until last week, FAU was still kind of in that.
They were in the mix. They were somewhat in the mix.
Yeah, I mean, that was a good win. Like, was it a good win? Like, did we play overly impressive? No. But it was a good win. It was a win over a team that has been known or has shown that they can put up points. I mean, the wide receiver that's leading in receptions in all of college football this year.
Shut him down.
He got shut down by a freshman. I mean, come on.
Hey, look, I saw a stat that FAU had scored 38 points, at least 38 points in 3 of the last 4 games. We held them to 7. So if you don't think we had a legitimate defense, we have a legitimate defense in Greenville, North Carolina.
Yeah, I mean, this defense is phenomenal. Like, this defense can play with anybody. I mean, they're out there balling, and they're doing it with several starters out. I mean, Jack Powers out for the season. Tegan Wilk out for the season.
Yeah.
There's some other guys in there that have been banged up. Look, everybody has injuries this time of year, but like that's insane. And already only 3 times this year has ECU allowed an opponent to score more than 20 points. 3 times. 4 times, excuse me. I mean, to be 8-2 and
Still less than 50% of our games.
Less than 50% of the games have
And
scores.
honestly, putting up 20 or more, I mean, I would like to see the games where we held teams to 30 or less, right? Like, has anybody put up more than 30 on us? I'm sure. I think App State did.
No.
Did they not?
The only team to put up more than 30, Michigan and Marshall both put up. Michigan put up 30.
Michigan put up 30.
Marshall put up 31.
Yeah, that's. I mean,
So
you think
okay, they were
about today's
5
landscape of
games.
college football, though. Like you watch a USC Washington, and it's damn near what 50 something to 40.
Yeah.
Right? Like you look at the Pac-12, they're just putting up 40 points every single game.
Nobody plays defense.
Yeah, no, that's impressive. Our defense is very impressive.
So I'm completely missed Marshall. So 5 games. So half of your games, you haven't allowed the opponent to score more than 20 points. You should have anytime. That also means that you didn't score more than 20 points. The only ECU scored more than 20 points 4 times this season. App State, UTSA, FAU, and Gardner-Webb. 4 times. They're 500 when they score more than 20 points. And if they could find a way to score 30 points, you're looking at a team that's 8-2.
Yeah, because I mean, if we're talking about the offense, right? I mean that once again they did everything to give that game away. If we're being honest, because after that first quarter touchdown, it was nothing. Andrew Conrad and that defense kept us in that game. And if you think, because I'm gonna be honest with you, Andrew Conrad making 5 field goals, 40 yards or more, shocked the hell out of me. I would have said no way. If you'd have told me Andrew Conrad would have made 5 straight field goals of 40 plus yards or more, and that would kind of be the difference as to why we won the game, I'd have said, hell, you smoking. Whatever you're smoking, I want some of that. But shout out to him.
Yeah, I mean, credit where credit's due. We've been all over special teams the last 2 years. I mean, 40-yard field goals are impressive. And these, only one of them was under 46 yards.
That's absurd. For a college kicker, that's absurd.
He hit 2 47-yarders and I believe 2 46-yarders. And then the last one was a 40-yarder.
That's absurd, man. I mean, you have NFL kickers that cannot do that. 5 straight 45 plus, like that's absurd.
From the hash, yeah, no, like I'll take it. Hopefully, I mean, you're gonna probably need him the next 2 weeks. Navy this weekend, Tulsa, Thanksgiving weekend. You're gonna need him.
Hey, but no Owen Daffer hype though. We ain't doing none of that.
We're not doing that.
No Owen Daffer. Hey, look, good game. We appreciate you. On to the next. No Daffer hype.
Because I mean, just as good as his 5 for 5 game this past weekend is. What, missed 2 against Charlotte? You could have won the ball game.
Yeah, we've been down that train before, hyping up kickers. Before
we're not going to do that.
We're not doing that. So
we're not going to do that. And then I mean, already the fact that ECU, like looking at their schedule this year, I mean, pretty much every game that they've played in, they've been in the ball game.
Yeah. Which is the frustrating. I think I mentioned that a couple weeks ago. Like this season would have been. I'm not saying it would have been better, but like at least if we were just getting blown out, then I know okay, we just have a really really shitty team and everything's got to go. But we're like the frustrating thing is we're in 90% of these ball games. We're in these games. We can win these games. We could have beat a ranked opponent at home last week. We're in these games. That's the frustrating thing about it.
Yeah. Hey, if ECU finishes 4-8 on the season, I'm happy. Like I'm happy with.
No, you're not happy.
I'm happy with
the finish.
I'm happy with the finish.
Yeah, you're not happy about the season. You're just happy with the finish.
Right. But to be where we thought we were going to be and then go to where we ended up going and then to still find a way to sneak out 4 wins and finish the season kind of hot. I mean, the offense isn't ever going to be hot. Like, this offense sucks. This offense is atrocious.
Well, we obviously know there's things that have to be changed on the offensive side of the ball, but the good thing is that's going to be the main focus. You maintain what you have on defense, right? Because that is clearly there. There's not much that needs to be changed outside of getting a few more secondary pieces, shoring up that, getting a solid pass rush. I would like to get a solid edge rusher, but outside of that, defense is solid. You know what you have to do. You have to get better on the offensive side of the ball everywhere in the offseason. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think we talked about it last week. I think you're okay in some of the skill positions. This Riles kid, Desirio Riles, going to be a pretty good tight end going forward. But you just need offensive line help, and you need somebody that can sling the rock.
Yeah.
And if you had those two things, we're in a completely different mindset right now than where we were, where we thought we were going to be. Right, like we're not. If you get that, you're looking at a team that like 7-3, 8-2 at worst. So that sucks. That sucks. But let's do good, bad, and ugly before we start our Navy preview. It's gonna be a little bit shorter podcast this week. Got a lot going on at home. So
let's get into it.
Good, bad, and ugly. Artie from FAU defense. I mean, we've talked about it already.
There's no more hyperbole I can give the defense, man. I've run out of compliments. I'm sorry.
So
compliments.
Defense, stellar. 172 yards of total offense for FAU. 29 yards rushing. 29 yards rushing. 5 sacks for 45 yards. 10 tackles for loss for 54 yards. Julius Woodhead, the interception. Special teams, we already talked about Andrew Conrad. Hey, let's also give some flowers to Julian Davis, true freshman, really kind of getting his first kind of reps in, like live game reps, with a huge blocked punt. If he doesn't block that punt, ECU doesn't score that touchdown.
I'm happy you said that. Yes, that was huge, because that touchdown was gift wrap. Obviously, ECU's not scoring a touchdown on their own unless it's gift. It got to be gift wrap. Like we got to be in an ideal situation, and that was gift wrap.
And then the offense is still pretty shitty, right? Chase Sowell, I believe he had 72 yards receiving. Most of those yards were after the catch. Look, him and Jalen Johnson early in the game, wide open, 8 yards out, over the middle. Why are we not throwing it to them? Like, design those plays. Defenses are giving you that all the time because they don't think that you have the confidence to throw the ball over the middle 8 yards out.
Yeah.
That is a soft spot on the defense in every game I've watched this year. We're open over the middle every game. Why are we throwing it to the boundary? Throw it across the middle, come down with it, and move the sticks. That's all you need.
The defenses we play, they don't respect the pass game, and we still cannot capitalize on some of the gifts that the defense gives us because they don't respect it. I'm telling you, they do not respect pass game. They probably don't really respect too much from the offense side of the ball. But when those gifts are presented to you, take the gift. Like, take it. Hurt them when it matters most. So,
yeah, for sure. Artie, your thoughts on ECU FAU?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, this was, finish. My main thing about this, the season is what it is. We know that we're not fighting for anything special at this point. We're going to finish at bare minimum with 8 losses. So at this point, finish. Right? Can we string together some wins? Can we finish on a high note? Can we get something going offensively? You know, we don't really even need to harp on the defense no more. I know what I'm getting out of them on a weekly basis. I really want to see what this offense can do. Some of the pieces that will be coming back next year. What can they do with the opportunities they're given at the end of this season to gain momentum going into next year? Because next year is a make or break year. It just is. Next year is a make or break year. The pressure is going to be on everybody in that building. Coaches down, players down, boosters down, whoever, us, media down. The pressure's on everybody. So, you know, to me, great stepping stone to end the season right? Going into FAU, beating a 4-5 team that had aspirations of getting to 500, possibly getting to 6-7 wins.
I got to tell you, Artie, that probably ended their bowl hopes.
And it might have. I mean, they're sitting at 4-6. So yeah, I mean that we could have ended their bowl hopes. So I mean, FAU is a team that should have came out desperate, hungry, at home, like giving us their best shot, and we took it to them. So I mean, the kudos to our guys for doing that, going down there in that environment, beating up on Tom Herman and his boys. But finish. My main and like I said, this is like the first step into ECU finishing this season the way we want them to finish. If we can get to 4 wins, great. If we can get 3 wins, I'll take 3-9. I mean, I'm not gonna say I'll take it, but I would just like to see us be able to finish the season more on a winning tone, a winning note, than just kind of tucking our tails and just taking defeat. So finish.
Just finish. Yeah. Already the FPI for ESPN has ECU predicted to win the next 2 games. How crazy is that?
Navy and Tulsa, baby. They're winnable games.
They're winnable games. We said that. Let's see. Already looking at FAU real quick. The rest of their season, I know they've got to play I believe they play Tulane this weekend. So that's probably an L. And then you're looking at they need 2 wins. They need to win this weekend and next weekend. They got to beat Tulane and they got to beat Rice.
And one last thing I will say, because I did see this from an excerpt I saw earlier today about an article I was reading from what some of the FAU players were saying about ECU, especially their defense and the team in general. We are not indicative of our record. So we're probably the best 2-8 team you're going to see. It just be like we are, and I know that's crazy to say because our record is our record, but we are probably the most physical, best 2-8 team you're going to see. You got to come earn it against us, which is why it's so frustrating, like we mentioned earlier, because it could be reverse of that. But we are not indicative of what our record is. So,
yeah, for sure, it's tough to watch this offense just be as bad as they are. All right, the game this weekend, it's gonna be a one for the.
It's Navy, man. So we know how it is against Navy.
I mean, this is it.
We could be feeling good, and Navy come out and just take it to us. It's Navy. It's Navy week. So
the over under I believe is 37.5 this weekend against Navy.
Over under should be like 22.5.
I mean, Iowa has set the record for over under the last 2 weeks at like 29 and 27.5. The over unders dropped actually from 33.5 to 32.5. So buckle up. It's gonna be a fun one in Navy Marine Corps Memorial Stadium up in Annapolis, Maryland. We're gonna get to that here in just a minute. Longtime friend of the podcast, Pete Medhurst, gonna be joining us. Artie, before we have Pete on, talk a little bit about just talk about how much we like talking to him. I mean, it's before.
Awesome. Yeah, I think what four-time friend of the podcast now. At this point, so
there's guys that when the schedule comes out, we circle that week because we already know who we're going to talk to.
We're going to have them as an interview
because we know they're our guys, right? Like if you're our guy, you're our guy. Pete's one. Memphis Spence, Corey Glore.
Oh yeah, I haven't talked to Memphis Spence since the first interview. You talked to him twice. I ain't talked to him since the first interview. We got to get Memphis Spence back on here. We got to get Spence back on here.
Is that some breaking news? Did Jaquan McMillan get another interception?
Oh, that's right. Denver is playing Buffalo tonight.
Keaton Mitchell, second touchdown of his career.
Shame on the Baltimore Ravens. The man had 4 touches, and all he does is score touchdowns and prove that he's faster than everybody on the field, and you don't give him the ball back. Why are you not running the rock with Keaton Mitchell? I mean, Gus Edwards is good. I get it. Gus Edwards is good. But come on now. You got Keaton Mitchell back. He's faster than everybody on the field by a long shot.
For sure.
I don't get it.
Yeah. Between him and Jaquan McMillan, those are 2 guys already that I don't know how they went undrafted. I mean, you're drafting kickers in the 7th round, but you won't draft Keaton Mitchell or Jaquan McMillan?
I'm telling you, with Keaton, it was about his size, man.
Same with Jaquan.
They looked at him and said, "Nah, you can't play. You can't play at this level. Oh, you come out of ECU. You don't know how to play. You don't know how to play with these big boys like that." That's exactly what they was thinking. That's what these scouts and recruiters was thinking.
I will say, I mean, 2 ECU guys undrafted, lighting it up in the NFL. Love to see it. That's what being a true Pirate is.
And hopefully Jaquan can be the bright spot on what has been an abysmal defense, because that Denver defense has been god awful. But hopefully he can be one of the few bright spots on it.
For sure. Yeah, I would happily take both of those guys on the Falcons right now. They're probably gonna be my walk the plank this week.
We use both of them on the Bears too. So
hey, at least y'all can. I mean, you beat the Panthers, but a win's a win.
we beat the worst team in the league. Okay.
The fact that y'all beat them and y'all are still getting the first overall pick from them.
Yeah, it's nice. We're gonna have 2 top 5 picks. We're gonna have 2 top 5 picks. Now, if the Bears don't do anything with these 2 top 5 picks, then I will probably be turning in my fandom, because I can't take this kind of punishment. I don't deserve that. You got 2 top 5 picks, and you don't do anything smart with it or turn the franchise around. I don't deserve, as a fan, I don't deserve that. Gotta turn that. Y'all
need what?
I'll be becoming a fan free agent to the highest bidder.
Y'all are looking for what? D-line? Probably some D-line help.
Everything. The O-line's play a lot better. We have our number 1 receiver. We need to get a number 2. We can have DJ Moore and Marvin Harrison. That's what I want. I want DJ Moore and Marvin Harrison. On like that is an absolute nightmare.
The Falcons are
Marvin Harrison need to be one of them picks. And honestly, if we have the ability to get a Drake May, Caleb Williams, one of these Michael Penix, we're probably gonna go quarterback.
Why?
Because I just don't think the Fields. It's not working out. Now I think he has all the talent. Fields has the talent. He can play. I just don't think the situation in Chicago is right for him. I can see him going somewhere else and thriving. Seriously, I really could. I just don't think the situation is right in Chicago.
For sure. Well, Artie, we were mentioning it just a minute ago. We thrive when we have a longtime friend of the podcast on. I'm going to go ahead and bring him in. Pete Medhurst, welcome to the Boneyard Podcast. Pete, how's it going, friend?
What's going on, guys? Good to be with you.
Yes, sir. Good to have you.
Things going all right up there in the DMV area? Cold? Is it cold yet?
It's chilly. Just got back from softball practice, and it's 42 degrees, but the girls are they're awesome. You know, they'd probably go out there in 22-degree weather if you asked them to. So
gotta love that. Pete, coming up to Navy, we feel like we play y'all every year. I guess we have played y'all every year since we started this podcast. You're a 4-time guest now. Talk to us. I mean, what's going on? I mean, Coach Ken, last year was his last year. Brian Newberry comes in this year, former defensive coordinator. Talk to us a little bit about him and what's going on up there in Annapolis right now.
Yeah, I mean, we're trying to get consistent footing. I mean, that's the That's the best way to describe it. This past week was awesome. It's best performance we've had probably in any game this year. And trying to find, I mean, the injuries at quarterback have just been a killer. You start to get one guy, going, he gets hurt. And we're the only team in the country right now that has started 4 different quarterbacks on the season. So you know how much the quarterback means to our offense. And when you have that kind of disruption, and give Xavier Arline a lot of credit. I mean, it's a guy that was switched to slot back, and then with the injuries came back to quarterback, and he has been very mature about his role on the team. And I think his, you see his football character, the last 2 weeks where he's come off the bench, and, the last 6 quarters of football for us offensively have been better. And, we're finally starting to gain some traction, but it's certainly been a long road getting to that point. Defense has been decent. I mean, the Temple game was kind of an aberration for that group, but for the last month and a half, they've been really good. And they put it together again this past week. I mean, that UAB club, they're number 1 in the league at 303 a game. And, Zeno threw for like 168, and he got most of that on the last 2 drives. When the game started to get, a little separation there. So it was tremendous. They tried to, I give you Trent a little credit. He strategically tried to do something different. I mean, he tried to line up and go ground and pound. And, we can stop you if you try to run the football. But, I was impressed with the way we played and the way we tackled, because against them, with all the horizontal passing they do, you got to tackle well. If you don't tackle well against UAB, those receivers are really good. They're gonna turn a big play on you. And our guys did a great job of tackling, getting guys to the ground, running to the football. So, hopefully it's taken a long time, but hopefully we can get some momentum going here and finish strong here in the month of November.
Yeah, absolutely. And Pete, what are some of the things that Coach Newberry that you're seeing year 1 he's trying to implement that might be a little different than Coach Ken, and like a new take on trying to revitalize his program?
Well, I think. Look, there's no doubt we had to come up with something different. Teams were stacking 8 in the box against us. And the triple option in particular, is predicated on outnumbering people. Well, when they've got 8 in the box, you can't outnumber them. You got to hope somebody runs out of a play or something, basically. And teams have done very well against us here just by sheer numbers. And, we've introduced some new schemes running wise that have helped. I think we saw some of that this week. Not only that, but we got some dudes that can run. Teska, Heidenreich, Arline have legitimate Division I Power 5 speed. I mean, look at how they were running away from guys. They've been doing that all year, especially Heidenreich and Teska. They get out in the open field, it's over. They run away from people. You don't catch them. So, we figured out that those are our best players. We got to get the ball in their hands more. I thought Grant Chestnut called a great game this week, the offensive coordinator. And more importantly, with all the disruption we've had on the offensive line, with all the injuries we've had there, those kids really played well. I mean, they battled hard this week, and obviously finally we're able to put some things together. But they've just tinkered with some of the concepts, because when you and everybody wants Army to go back to their triple because they've struggled a little bit this year, but you can't run the triple when there's 8 dudes up there and they're not running out of the box. You're not fooling them with the fullback dive and everything anymore. They're just selling out, coming after your quarterback or coming after your pitch man, and daring you to pass the football against them. And early in the year, we had guys running wide. We've had guys running wide open in everybody's secondary all year. We just haven't been able to hit some of the pass plays. Well, now we're starting to take advantage of those. We're starting to hit those plays that we weren't hitting back in September. I think if we play the South Florida game over again with the group we're running with now, that results maybe a little bit different. We certainly have a better chance to win the game than we gave ourselves in that football game. But, that's the beauty of football. You got to accept the result that you get on that day. And we really had to absorb some tough games early. I mean, we had Memphis right there down in Memphis, couldn't finish that game. So we're not as far away as our record indicates. I think the good thing is some of the things conceptually on offense that they want to add are starting to come to fruition a little bit now that we actually have a healthy quarterback who's played back-to-back weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, looking at that, I was watching some film on Xavier Arline. I think I saw that he was the number 3 fastest college football athlete this week. I think he reached the top speed of like 20.5. We're encroaching on Keaton Mitchell numbers there.
My guy. That's my
I
guy.
was-
Look, I got to tell you, because I do Ravens halftime and postgame. And back in April, when Eric DeCosta signed him as an undrafted free agent, I was on the air, and I told people, I'm like, not only is he going to make the Ravens, but at some point he's going to make an impact.
Yep.
And I am so thrilled for him. I love it when I see guys from the American, because this league has been so good. It's had so many good players, and love to see so many of them, like Tank Dell from Houston, who's obviously playing well for them now. I just love it when guys from the American start to find a lot of success out there, and so happy for Keaton. His dad, Anthony, of course, played for the Ravens, and he's really turning into an explosive weapon for them. And he was a little banged up early, so he couldn't get on the field. He was a little hurt, but he's still nursing a sore hamstring, I guess is the best way to talk about it, because he's popped up on the injury report the last 2 weeks because of a hammy. But so far, so good, man. He hadn't shown any ill effects of that, because he is running away from people. And Xavier, Xavier did that the other day, 21.8 miles an hour. I mean, they got all that fancy stuff that they hook him up to now, in practice. And obviously through this technology and games, they can tell how fast they're running. But yeah, X is a great athlete, and he gets in the open field, he's going to run away from a lot of people. So that's the beauty of having him, and finally able to break some things into the open field. And, just hopefully we've got to play well. If we're going to get to a bowl game, we got to win a lot more games. So, but we got to make sure you can't get to 6 without getting to 5. So we got to get to 5 this week against an East Carolina team. I know that's wounded, and I know they're hurting, but I know their kids are going to show up and play coming up on Saturday.
Yeah, you were sorry, Artie. You were talking about, a team that the numbers or the scores don't really tell the whole story, right? And that's we were just talking about that on the podcast here. Like, it feels like this team could very well be 6-4, 7-3, even. Like,
I think 6-4 is fair. 7-3 with a little more luck, but definitely 6-4 could have been achievable by this group. But again, the beauty of life, you get what you earn that day. Doesn't matter what business you're in. If you get what you earn that day. And, unfortunately we got results that we earned. We earned L's when we probably should have had a couple of W's, but credit to the other team. They played better. But the kids love Brian. He was an obvious choice, I think, for the head coaching position. His acumen as a defensive coordinator was, just one of the best I've ever seen at coordinating defense. Yeah, and giving him an opportunity to be a head coach, I thought was the right choice. And I know the players were overwhelmingly in favor of it. So, that group is all starting to come together right now. And I think this group is going to, when you talk football with them, you can tell that they know what they're doing. It's an excitable group. It's an energetic group. It's not a false energetic group, though. You get a lot of guys on the sideline jump up and down and, getting guys' faces and try to do all that yeah kind of stuff. And then when they get in the X and O room, they can't do it. They can't bust a grape as a coach. They can't coordinate anything. There's been a lot of those people in college football. I think this group has got what it takes to have us getting better. But, college football right now, man, it's trying to leave the service academies behind. The rules certainly don't favor us. There's no NIL. The transfer portal is one way. So, we lose a quarterback, we can't just go out and grab another one in the portal. Ours has to be the old-fashioned way, through recruiting and player development. They got to get into that classroom with quarterbacks coach Ivan Jasper and get better each and every week. So that's kind of the way the cookie crumbles, though. That's the game we choose to play. None of us are dropping down to 1AA or Division II, so you don't have to worry about that. We're here for the long haul, as evidenced by Army joining the American going forward. So, we just got to deal with the rules as they are. No excuses, and go play.
And kind of because I was just about to ask you that, kind of leading on to that. Army joins the American, as a football only member. What do you think that means to Navy? What does that mean for the conference as a whole?
Well, I think it adds another. I think the great thing is when Army shows up, when Navy shows up, they bring loyal audience, they bring people with them. I think it's great for the Texas schools because whenever Army and Navy show up at the Texas schools, we got a lot of kids here because we both of us usually have 20 plus guys from the state of Texas on our rosters. So from a marketing standpoint, that's another potential military day for all these teams from a marketing perspective. But look, I mean, there's no question Jeff Monken can coach. He was a Paul Johnson disciple. He was a great coach at Navy as an assistant coach with Coach Johnson. And I don't think people really understood where the Army program was when he got there. We were tearing them to shreds. We weren't just beating them, we were destroying them. And Jeff has gotten them back very competitive, playing a very good, tough-nosed brand of football. It's going to bring another tough club. It's going to be very difficult to prepare for, each and every week because those guys are going to play their rear ends off each and every week. And Jeff is a fantastic football coach. So they bring another good program, I think, to the league. I don't know if it necessarily affects Navy in any way. We always recruit the same kids anyway. So regardless of whether it's a league or not, and obviously the Army Navy game is still going to be a standalone game that doesn't count as a conference game. So, I don't think there's any real direct effect, except maybe if one team starts winning more than the other, then, when you get into kids' homes from a recruiting standpoint, you can simply say, hey, we've beaten them. Obviously we were beating them, 14 years in a row. You could go into the living room and tell a family, not only are we offering you a great education, but from a football standpoint, we're winning 58-12, 34-7, 34-0, things of that nature, until Jeff obviously made them a much more competitive program. So I think that's the only way maybe going forward that it affects either team is if one can start winning more than the other. Because let's face it, both institutions offer you a world-class education and put you academically and with a great job upon graduation, guaranteed. Great salary, guaranteed. That's where the NIL comes from for kids that go. I'm telling you right now, if you're a football player that's really good, but you don't think you're an NFL talent, you'd be kind of foolish not to consider Army and Navy, to be honest with you, because you're going to get a great degree. You're going to get a degree that opens any door in the world to you from a career choice. You're at least going to get an interview. Now, you may blow the interview and not get the job, but when people see United States Naval Academy on your resume, you're going to get the interview.
That's impressive.
You're going to talk to somebody, right? So I think if you're a kid that's not going to go to the NFL and probably knows that, I think you're a fool not to consider a service academy in our world right now, because you're going to be 22 years old, 23 years old when you graduate. You're going to have a guaranteed job with a great salary, great benefits, and you're going to wear a uniform that, for lack of a better term, 99% of all females in the world see you in that uniform and they melt right on the spot. So there are so many positives, 99% of which are realistic and great career choice, and just they help you in a world right now where you need some help right now, like that, if you're trying to get a job that pays well. And look, let's face it, all members of the Brotherhood look out for others. They're likely to hire more people that have the same background, so you've got that entire Brotherhood workforce working for you as well.
For sure. Yeah. We always say, like, this is a game that we love to play, but also, the ECU Navy game hasn't fared well for the Pirates. They've done better in Annapolis than they have in Greenville. That's for sure. But looking at this weekend, we were talking about it before you hopped on. I think the over/under is 32.5. Gonna be a fun one. Battle in the trenches. A little bit about Navy's defense. Who's some guys that we should be watching out for? We always know the triple option, but let's talk about the other side of the ball.
Well, clearly, Defensive player of the week in the American this week, Colin Ramos. He was fantastic the other day. You could have picked Rayon Lane too, who had the 97-yard interception return for a touchdown. I think Rayon's the best safety in the league. I think Colin and Will Harbor at middle linebacker are two of the best linebackers in the league. I think our nose guard is as good as any defensive lineman in the league. I think Justin Reed out of Apex, North Carolina, has taken over for Jacob Busick, who had a season-ending injury, and he has been phenomenal. Clay Cromwell, our other end, is phenomenal. So we've had some people there, and when that unit is on, man, they're pretty good. You got to do some extraordinary things, I think, to beat. I mean, the fact that we played that well against UAB this week, I mean, I can't even emphasize that enough. They were going up and down the field on people with Zeno at quarterback. That guy is good. That guy's got an NFL arm. I think he's an NFL talent. A couple of those wide receivers they've got, I think, have chances at the next level. So, seeing our defense play that way was so encouraging this past week. And, hopefully they can continue that, because those kids are going to play their rear end off, especially those seniors. They're going to play their rear ends off until that final game against Army coming up on December the 9th. So that group has played well. They've been our best unit most of the season, and hopefully, they can stay healthy and continue to play extremely well.
Now, overall X factor of this game. Navy comes in, obviously trying to get bowl eligible, get to a bowl game this season. What is the X factor in your mind this weekend that Navy has to do to get a win?
I think we have to score early. I think we've got to get East Carolina behind the game a little bit, because teams that are struggling, if things start to go against them early in a game, sometimes you can get that tidal wave going against them and build on it and do more. If the longer you let people, and this goes, for any football game, the longer you let your opponent stick around and be in the game, especially if they stay within one play, all they got to do is make one play. And that's the big thing to me is, we got to play from ahead like we did this past week. Get ahead, stay ahead, put the pressure on the other team. The 12-minute drive, or the 20-play drive we had this past week, 12 minutes, 44 seconds. It's just outstanding. That's what Navy football is all about. I mean, we've struggled so much on third down this year. I mean, 3rd and 4 or longer has just been kryptonite for us this year. We've been brutal. We were like 16% going into this past game. We actually hit a couple this week, but I mean, we're 16% on 3rd and 4 or longer. I mean, that's kind of been, our bread and butter. We've always converted 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5. We've always been able to get that kind of stuff. And this year we just haven't been able to do it. So, converting those again, but not allowing East Carolina to gain some confidence early in the game, to me, is critical, because if you let any football team linger, these guys are all competitors. They want to compete. They want to win on Saturday. They're going to play their butts off, because especially the guys that have eligibility left and are going to come back, they want to leave that taste in the coach's mouth that they're players that are here to try and turn this thing around and get it going in the right direction, just like this past week. So, if you let them linger, then you got a game in the fourth quarter. Then you got to play your butt off to try and win this thing. So I think getting out early. And, you're never going to get, I mean, if we have a 20-play drive 2 weeks in a row, then, that's just good football fortune. So we had a couple pieces that, look, we've had some bounces go against us this year. This week, we had a couple go our way. I mean, guy drops a ball. Our line just happens to be following him and running over by the sideline, drops on the football, and the guy drops a punt, who's really a sure-handed guy, but he dropped the punt, and it went out of bounds. It didn't go to the other team. So sometimes you got to have some bounces that go your way, and we certainly had a couple of those that went our way on Saturday.
Yeah,
for sure. Well, Pete, thank you again for joining us on the Boneyard Podcast. Always a pleasure. Wish we could be up there this weekend. We had a blast last time when we came up to Annapolis.
Loved Annapolis when I went up there last time.
I mean, ECU folks always show up over in section 31 and 32 there. So I hope, look, I mean, this is a very commutable road game for them. So it's such a passionate fan base. I mean, I tell people about you guys all the time. so jealous of your fan base, jealous of the market there. I love it. It's one of my favorite places in all of college athletics. And, you know, I know right now it's tough because I listen to the post game shows and I watch all this stuff. And but you have a fan base that cares. Some teams have nobody that cares.
Yeah.
You know, you watch some of these MAC games on a Tuesday night. There's nobody there. There's 2,500 people. We're at Temple. I think there was 3,000 bodies. Don't pay attention to what they announced. I think there was 3,000 people total in the building. You know, ECU's got such a passionate fan base. So I hope that they stick with it. Stick with the kids because remember, no matter how mad you might get at coaches and administration and everything, the kids need you. Don't boo the kids because the kids are playing hard. They're trying their best out there, and it's such a passionate fan base that again, if a kid's got a chance to consider East Carolina, once you visit there and see what's going on, and I mean it's an unbelievable place. So I hope some of those folks will make the trek there up the Bay Bridge Tunnel. I know it costs like $20 now, but you know, it'll be worth the ride. Come support your team up here this week in Annapolis against Navy.
For sure. Well, Pete, thanks again. Best of luck. And then if you get a chance to talk to our boy Keaton, wish him well from us.
Yes. I will do that indeed. He's having a great year. Let's hopefully he can keep it up. Appreciate being with you guys as always.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Pete. Yep.
Once again, that was Pete Medhurst, longtime friend of the podcast.
Yes, one of the OGs.
Artie, that's why we love talking to him.
We got
butters us up.
OG wall, man. We got to do an OG wall. Like Pete Medhurst, Corey Glore. Who else is on the OG wall, OG list? Igo's on the OG list. Maybe
Brett.
Put Courtney on the OG list.
Brett from Sup Dogs.
Brett's on the OG list.
Who else have we had on a couple of times?
Just the Boneyard Podcast OGs.
I mean, there's got. I mean, Coach Harrell. I mean, we've only had him on once, but guy's an electric factory.
At this point, Harrell for president, bro. Got my vote.
Hey, write him a blank check, a la Jimbo Fisher. We'll talk about that here in a minute, Artie. Don't you worry.
Station is what a mess.
We'll talk about that here in a minute. All right, Artie. Basketball season. We're a week into basketball season.
Hey, how many losses we got so far?
Zero. I mean, Artie, our football team, basketball team, and women's basketball team have a combined 6 wins on the season.
but one season is almost over. One is almost over.
No, I mean the guys and the girls look good. Really excited.
Good. Yeah, they look good. They look good.
I mean, ECU real quick, ECU basketball. I don't know if anybody. I'm sure all of our listeners were watching. 2:00 against Campbell this past weekend, right before the ECU FAU game. ECU played Campbell, and Campbell's not a slouch.
No, they show up and play. They got some players that can play.
Mean, but the fact that you had several of your guys in foul trouble 10 minutes into the game. Like, look, and there were some ticky-tack calls.
Yeah.
Going against ECU. I mean, it was CAA officials there on Saturday afternoon. ECU still found a way to beat Campbell and cover the spread. I mean, ECU's in a good spot right now. I'm
telling you, man, that non-conference slate, it looks real delectable. It's looking good. That non-conference slate is looking good, man. I think going into that FAU matchup, which is going to be our real first test, obviously, of the season, we should be looking all right.
Oh, how sweet it would be to knock off FIU.
Honestly, they deserve that. They do deserve that because they know better to do what they did this past week.
And then it took them almost an hour and a half to post the final score. They finally posted a picture. No graphics on the picture. Just said 22-7 final. Didn't say who won. Didn't say anything about either team. Just said 22-7 final with a picture of their guy running the ball. That's it. Come on, FAU.
That's just the sweetest karma, the sweetest irony of all time. You call somebody out their name, you try to troll, and you get your ass whooped.
I love
poetic justice.
People in the comment section or the replies on Twitter after a team loses and they don't post the final score. I absolutely love that. Yep. All right. Women's hoops going to be on the road this weekend, or I guess tomorrow night at VCU. Potential future conference member. Virginia Commonwealth University up in Richmond. So if you're in the Seven Cities area, shout out John Smith. Try to get out there to VCU to see the Pirates take on. Or are they the Rams?
VCU. I think VCU is the Rams. Yeah, but that's a cool little city though. If you've never been to Richmond, Richmond's a cool little city. They got some things up there to do.
Hey, I mean, perfect place to stop at if you're on your way up for a long weekend in Annapolis.
Yeah, facts. That's like the perfect little midway point. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's Tuesday night. You still got 4 days, but you can spend 4 days in DC and Annapolis and get plenty. That perfect week. Get that done. And then the men will take on South Carolina upstate. The men's team this time. Maybe it'd be nice if our men's team could figure out a way to drop 100 on the men's team too. You get 100. You get 100. You get 100. But no.
We might mess around and do it. Might do
it. Shout out RJ Felden. Second player this year to record a career high game in points. Brandon Johnson did it the first week or the first game, and then RJ Felton did it this past game with a 30-point game in the 14-point win over Campbell. Shout out there. And then, yeah, I mean, this team's going to be good. Like what I see from this team. Really excited. Really
hey, look.
I'm trying to temper my optimism.
Right, but I mean, honestly though, it's okay to feel excited because this is a program. I think somebody was saying, get ECU basketball back, and I saw a comment say back from what? Like we're building a program for the first time. Like Schwartz and company is building a program for the first time, trying to be decent, trying to be something good, right? So the optimism is there.
And not to mention you're doing it without, honestly, one of the best transfers ECU's ever had.
Yeah.
In Cam Hayes. Roy Cooper, Josh Stein, any other politician out there, you want to write a letter to the NCAA for this one? Or are you just going to protect your baby blue brethren?
Also, the same way we pressure y'all to pack Dowdy, pack Minges, bro. Don't
get the hell out there. Yeah.
Don't get on the bandwagon too late. Go get to Minges, pack Minges, support this team, man.
And if you have to, student section, kick the old people out of those purple chairs behind the.
Don't kick the old. No, don't do that.
No, because that's where the student section should be.
Okay, no, the student section, yes, yeah, they gotta understand that's the student section,
but that's gosh, I hate that we're not like we should be back behind the benches. Put the student section back behind the benches.
Yeah, but see, y'all cause too much ruckus. Y'all.
Artie, have you ever watched a game in Cameron?
Well, yes, but at least Cameron, like they bad, but y'all be. I've been to ECU basketball games. I've been with you. the Minji's Maniacs be saying some real raunchy stuff in there behind the bleachers, man.
They're still saying it. Now they're just saying it to the back of the head of the former mayor and current mayor and one of the football coaches and their kids.
I agree, though. No, put it back behind the bleachers. Fuck them. Let them hear it all.
Like, come on, what are we doing? All right, I think that's a good segue, Artie. You got to walk the plank.
Walk the plank. Nothing happened this weekend outside of, once again, all them haters, because haters gonna hate. Penn State, you can walk the damn plank. Your fans can walk the damn plank. That wasn't even, honestly, I'm kind of disappointed just because it wasn't as good of a game as I would have wanted it to be. We still haven't been challenged yet, so I'm still looking for Michigan to be challenged because we're going to have to like play somebody, and maybe Ohio State would give us a challenge. Maybe they will, but we're gonna have to play somebody because when we get to the playoff, I'm not trying to get blown out by Alabama or Georgia again. I'm not. I need a legitimate test before we get to the playoff. But Penn State
blown out by Alabama or Georgia again. You got blown out by TCU last time.
No. We didn't get blown up by TCU. We didn't get that game was a classic. What are you talking about? It was one of the best college football playoff games.
I honestly don't remember the score. I just know y'all lost to TCU.
That game was
blown
a
out by
classic,
Georgia,
bro. And TCU had like 10 NFL players on that team. That's why they suck this year. You know how many people got drafted from that TCU squad?
Anyways, Artie, are you done talking about the Wolverines?
Yeah, I'm done. Penn State walked the damn plank.
Chapel Hill fans, walk the damn plank. Stop storming the field when you're double-digit or favorite.
Team that won to walk the plank.
Just like I told App State fans to walk the plank when they stormed the field over us, telling UNC fans, walk the damn plank for storming the field after beating Duke. Okay? Like, walk the damn plank. Also, I had another one. Arthur Smith, walk the damn plank.
Yeah. Los Angeles Clippers, walk the damn plank. You drafted for James, not drafted, but you traded for James Harden, and you're 0-4 since he came to town because James Harden's
not a sport.
So Los Angeles Clippers, walk the damn plank.
Donnie Kirkpatrick, walk the damn plank.
Did you see the tweet where they had to fire Donald Kirkpatrick at Minji's, but they wouldn't show it?
They turned our man Patrick Johnson and Cy Seymour around to face the crowd so that you couldn't see it.
They wouldn't show it. That's like, oh, that was hilarious.
No, I mean, Artie, there are guys that are getting fired right now. Jimbo Fisher got fired after beating a team by 41. And we can't fire Donnie Kirkpatrick. Here's my problem. Here's my problem with not firing him now is you're getting into a situation where with the early signing period now, you're getting into a situation where you don't have time to find somebody to really shore up that recruiting. ECU's got the number one recruiting class in the conference right now.
Yeah.
Look, I've been told that Cole Hodge and the Hodge brothers are good to go no matter what. But I know that there's a connection there with Donnie Kirkpatrick and their high school coach. Right? That's why we're not going after any other quarterbacks right now. Okay, that from what I've heard in the recruiting, like we should be going at we're gonna have Mason Garcia and Raheem Jeter as like our two quarterbacks next year. Then you got Cole Hodge that's coming in as a freshman. Okay, we should be recruiting multiple quarterbacks in this class. That quarterback room is empty, and if it's true that we're not recruiting another quarterback because this is a friend of Donnie Kirkpatrick's player. Come on now. Look, those two are going to be dynamite. Cole Hodge and his brother.
No, they're good.
Wide receiver. I mean, they're good. But you can shore that up if you were to fire Donnie. Don't lose other recruits after you fire him, which I don't think Donnie's the one keeping recruits here anyways. But
look, man, you know what I can see? I can see ECU winning out. And they mess around and say, "Oh, we figured things out on offense the last 3 to 4 weeks. We look really good." And Donnie's right back there next year with that damn fool's gold.
They're gonna say we scored 22 points against FAU.
Fool's gold and false hope. He'll be right back on the sidelines next year.
Fool's gold and false hope. I like that. All right, Artie. It's gambling corner time.
Let's do it.
Let's see here. What games we want to talk about this week?
We gotta have some good ones this week.
There's some decent ones this week.
Some good ones.
Let's see here. I'm gonna go with. There's some duds too this week. Not gonna lie. Let's see. We're gonna go. Let's look at the SEC first.
We're getting down to the nitty gritty though. We are getting
all right.
It's almost rivalry week too.
Here you go. First one, Georgia on the road at Rocky Top.
Okay.
Georgia's a 10.5 point favorite, the number 2 team in the country. Tennessee, number 13, 7-3. Already, your take. Let's see the over under 59.5. Georgia's a 10.5 point favorite.
Yeah, look, Georgia's been playing phenomenal the last few weeks. I mean, they've been playing ranked opponents, and they've been beating the shit out of these ranked opponents. I have no reason to think that they're going to lay a dud to Tennessee, even though I love me some Rocky Top. But Georgia not losing to Tennessee, and they will win this game by at least 10 points. So
they beat number 9 Ole Miss last weekend, 52-17.
Yeah, they beat the brakes off Ole Miss, and Ole Miss is good. Like Ole Miss is a good football team. They beat the brakes off of them.
Like Missouri, who just beat the crap out of Tennessee last weekend.
Now Missouri, the only team in the SEC to actually give Georgia a game, and even Georgia won that game,
by double digits.
Yeah, they won that handily. So
yeah, give me
Georgia's gonna win this game by a lot of points.
Yeah, give me Georgia. Nothing else in the this is the week in the SEC.
You got Alabama playing Chattanooga with 2 weeks left in the season.
All right, Alabama, Chattanooga.
Jesus Christ.
Ole Miss, UL Monroe.
What are we doing?
Texas A&M, Abilene Christian. New Mexico State, Auburn. Arkansas, FIU, not to be confused with FAU, who's actually FIU, but the real FIU. With the real FIU, please stand up.
That was good, Jed. I like that.
You like that one? And then LSU at Georgia State, LSU Georgia State, which I mean Georgia State's not been bad this year, but
still these matchups are absurd.
These are the ones that everybody makes fun of the SEC for, right? Like, why are you playing Week 10? Why are you playing a bunch of no names? All right, let's go over to the ACC.
Who you got?
All right. The number 11 team in the country, Louisville, on the road at Miami. Take me to Miami. This game, Louisville is a 1 point favorite against Miami. Louisville's looked suspect over the last couple of weeks. I mean, yeah, they beat the crap out of Virginia Tech and Duke, but they've had some games in there where the game was a lot closer than it should have been.
Yeah, that Pitt loss, I'm scratching my head. Louisville should be undefeated. Louisville should literally not have a loss. They should be undefeated. I don't understand that Pitt loss.
And then Miami, I don't know what's up with them. I mean, hold Florida State close all game, get blown out by NC State, barely beat Virginia, beat Clemson, lost to Carolina. Like, I don't know what's going on. Lost to Georgia Tech. I mean, I don't know what's going on in Miami. So this is gonna be an interesting game.
Yeah.
12 o'clock on ABC. Artie, your take.
Louisville's a better team. I just don't know which Louisville's going to show up.
Exactly.
That's the problem. Louisville should win this game. Louisville should probably win this game by a couple touchdowns. To be honest with you, they're just a better team. I'm still going to take Louisville, but this could be one of the better games of the weekend though. This could be like a 35-31, 35-32 kind of finish, and it could go either way. So, but give me Louisville
for sure. Yeah. All right. I'm gonna do one more other than ours, just because I think this is the game of the week.
You got it. If it's not a Pac-12 game,
it is.
Okay, I was about to say because I see it. I see it. This is a top 10 matchup right here.
This is Washington on the road at Oregon State.
It's gonna be a good game.
Oregon State's a 1.5 point favorite. Bunch of pick'ems this week, Artie. Let's see. Number 5, Washington can pretty much secure a spot. I mean, come as close to locking up a college football playoff spot in the Pac-12 as you can with a win this weekend. Over under 63.5. Like I said, Oregon State's a 1.5 point favorite, even though they're the higher ranked team. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, Washington wins this game. I know that would give them at least 4 wins over a ranked opponent, maybe 5, because the Pac-12 has just been absurd this season. And they haven't shown me anything to pick against them. Their offense is going to put up numbers it's a track meet. And if it's a track meet, I'm picking Washington. They just have the best offense in the country. They have 2 NFL receivers. They have an NFL quarterback. If it's going to be a track meet, I'm picking Washington. Now, Oregon State's going to give them a game. And if the defense decides to show up, they could make it interesting late. They really, really – and this is in Beaver Stadium, right? This is at Oregon State.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they can make this game really interesting. That crowd's going to be into – I mean, this is like the biggest matchup in that team's history. So they can make it interesting, but Washington has done nothing for me to pick against them. I know they had those 2 kind of duds with Stanford, and they played another team really, really close. I forget the other one, but no, I think Washington's back on track. They'll win this game. It's gonna be close though. I agree with you. This could be the game of the week.
Yeah, I mean they played close with. They had a close game with Oregon, and that's really they won by a touchdown against Arizona. Also against Arizona State. That's a weird game, 15-7.
Yeah, Arizona State. And then Stanford. They were close with Stanford for the longest time before they kind of pulled away with that. And Stanford is an awful team this year.
Yeah. Did blow out Michigan State 41-7.
Everybody's blowing out Michigan State.
I think ECU could blow out Michigan State right now.
Everybody's blowing out Michigan State.
All right. I'm gonna say is there a world where Oregon State wins out, beating Washington and Oregon, and sneaks into the college football playoff?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. You know how many ranked wins they would have with a conference championship? Yeah, they would have a claim. You beat number 5 Washington. If you play Oregon in the Pac-12 championship, they'd be number.
Well, they play Oregon next week.
So they got number 5 and number 6 back to back.
Yep.
And then they go on to win a Pac-12 championship. Yeah, hell yeah, they should go to the playoff. They have And I mean, I love my Michigan Wolverines, but that's a much better resume than what we got.
A 12 and playoff, or what would an 11-2 Oregon State team?
It would be like that Auburn team from a couple years ago that beat back-to-back number ones but couldn't get in because they didn't win the SEC.
Yeah.
But had Auburn won the SEC, they'd have got into the playoff with 2 losses.
Mm.
I think it's the same thing for Oregon State.
I just have a feeling Oregon State's going to win this game.
You think so?
I just do. Yeah.
Give me the chaos. I'm for the chaos.
I'm for the chaos.
Yeah, I'm
like, imagine that Oregon State beating Washington. Who's Oregon play this weekend? Oregon plays Arizona State, and then match up Oregon State, Oregon for all the marbles.
All the marbles. Yeah, I'm with the chaos. I like Michael Penix, and I like the Huskies. I do low key want Washington to win, but I'm with the shits. I'm with the chaos. I'm cool with it.
All right, give me Oregon State. Why not? Why the hell not? All right, Artie. Last but not least, game of the week. East Carolina University heads up the road to Annapolis, Maryland, home of the Navy, the Naval Academy Midshipmen, United States Naval Academy, where the Pirates come in off of rough waters this season. Will they have enough on defense? Will the defense be able to stand tall enough to sink Navy this weekend? Artie, ECU's 2-8, Navy's 4-5. Game's going to be on ESPN News, broadcast for millions around the world to see. ECU's a 2.5-point dog on the road. The over-under is 32.5. Let's hear it.
I never know how to pick the Navy game because I feel like every time I pick the Navy game, I'm wrong. Like if I pick ECU to win, they lose. If I pick Navy to win, ECU wins. So I just don't know how to pick this game. I don't know. The same way you was feeling the ECU victory last week, I'm feeling the ECU victory this week too. I feel like we go up to Annapolis and put some things together. I think this defense is humming, and I think they're going to continue to hum. And I don't know. I just this offense. I feel like they'll put something in the works. I feel like these players are going to play inspired. They'll put something together. It's going to be an ugly game. I want everybody to understand this game is going to be this is going to be a shit show. This is going to be an ugly game to watch. Much like FAU was ugly to watch. Times 10 for this ECU Navy game. It's going to be an ugly game to watch. But I think we win it ugly. I do. I got a feeling we're going to win an ugly game.
I think it's going to be ugly. I don't think that the offense figures it out.
No, when I say figures it out, I mean like they score like 17, which would be just enough.
I don't even think that happens.
That's what I think. I'm not saying they're going to play good.
I think that it's a game of teams with long sustained drives trying to get to the sticks. Look, if you give Navy the ball, they're gonna lean on you. You've got to be able to figure out how to pick up a first down here and there and continue to do that. You need one of those 7-8 minute drives to win this game. You got to keep the ball out of their hands.
Yeah.
If you're going to win this game, you've got to keep the ball out of Navy's hands. You've got to control time and possession. And you've got to do that by moving the sticks. Taking the play clock down every single time. That's what this Pirate team has done this year. They've had to do it. But you gotta figure out how to get out there and keep the ball in your hands. You don't, even if you don't score, drain the clock. The defense will, if the defense can stand tall and doesn't get gassed from being out there for 12 minutes at a time, 10 minutes at a time, then you'll have a chance. You gotta kind of do that to Navy. You gotta put them on defense for 8-9 minutes at a time. That's my take. I think this game is very low scoring. I think that this game might be one of the lowest scoring games that I've ever seen. Artie, I'm gonna say East Carolina wins, and the score is 9-6.
I knew he was gonna say 9-6. I knew he was gonna say that. I knew he was gonna say 9-6. I think the opposite because I don't our offense is just not built like that. I think Navy's gonna dominate time of possession, but they're not gonna have the big plays. And I think ECU gets 3 to 4 more big splash plays because we have the kind of playmakers that can do that than Navy. And I think that's a difference. I think Navy's going to absolutely dominate time of possession, but I think our defense is going to stand tall when they need to. And I think ECU just gets a few more big plays. But I can see 9-6. I could see 9-6.
Nobody scores a touchdown.
I could see 9-6. Absolutely.
Gonna be a beautiful day. Looks like 60-degree weather and sunny. So perfect football weather in Annapolis, Maryland. All right, Artie. Thank you for doing another podcast with me. We're almost through this season. We're almost there.
It's all good. ECU's about to be a basketball school. It's okay.
Basketball, baseball, softball.
Oh, we ain't forget about baseball. That's coming too. We ain't forget about baseball.
All right.
Revenge season.
All right, Artie. Let's see. Make sure you're following us on social media at Boneyard Podcast on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, YouTube. Like, subscribe, follow us everywhere you get your podcast, whether that's Apple Podcast, Spotify, YouTube, Google Podcast. I believe we're on Amazon now. Check us out. And yeah, we thank you for listening. Give us a 5-star review. If you don't, you can walk the damn plank. If you do, friends of the podcast for life. All right. That's all I got. Let's get out of here.
That's it. Another one in the books, baby. Wash your hands, wash your butts. Until next week, Pirate Nation. Sink Navy. Go Pirates. Deuce.
Peace.